Functional ego states. How personality expresses itself. What is the functional model? While the structural model describes what is inside us, parent, adult, child, the functional model explains how these parts actually behave in real life. It shows how each ego state is expressed in helpful or unhelpful ways. Overview of functional ego states. Parent, nurturing parent, positive, negative, critical parent, positive, negative, adult, no subdivision, remains one integrated state, child, free child, positive, negative, adapted child, positive, negative, rebellious child, often considered a form of adapted child, but can be viewed separately. Nurturing parent, positive, supportive care. This is nurturing that supports growth, autonomy, and well-being. How it thinks, what does this person really need? How can I support without taking over? How it feels, warm, compassionate, respectful. How it behaves, encourages, protects appropriately, supports independence. Examples. Personal life. A parent says, I see you're tired. Rest and we'll continue later. A partner says, you've had a long day. Let me help. Office life. A manager says, take the time you need to do this properly. A colleague says, I can show you how to do this if you want. Nurturing parent negative, overprotective, smothering. This is where care becomes control disguised as kindness. It may feel loving, but it actually limits growth or harms well-being. How it thinks, they can't handle this without me. I must take care of everything. How it feels, anxious, over-responsible. How it behaves, overfeeds, overprotects, doesn't allow independence, encourages dependency. Examples. Personal life. A grandmother insists, eat more, you're too thin, even when the child is already overweight. A parent constantly interferes. Let me do it for you. Office life. A manager doesn't delegate. I'll just do it myself. It's easier. A colleague micromanages under the guise of helping. Critical parent positive. Constructive structure. This is criticism that guides, protects, and develops potential. How it thinks, what will help this person grow? What is realistic and honest? How it feels, clear, responsible, focused. How it behaves, gives constructive feedback, sets healthy limits, corrects with purpose. Examples. Personal life. A parent says, drawing may not be your strongest skill. Have you thought about music? You seem very talented there. This redirects energy towards strength, not away from value. Office life. A manager says, this report isn't at the required level yet. Let's improve these sections. This builds competence, not shame. Critical parent negative. Destructive criticism. This is judgment that damages confidence and identity. How it thinks, you're not good enough. You always fail. How it feels, irritated, superior, dismissive. How it behaves, blames, shames, generalizes, attacks the person, not the behavior. Examples. Personal life. You can't do anything right. Why are you like this? Office life. This is terrible. Do you even understand your job? Adult. The adult remains unchanged in the functional model. It does not split into positive or negative forms. Why? Because the adult is reality-based, data-driven, present-focused. When it is active, it is already functioning optimally. How adult operates, processes information, evaluates options, makes decisions based on reality. Free child. This is the natural, spontaneous, expressive part. Free child positive. Healthy expression. How it thinks. I want to explore. This is exciting. How it feels. Joy, curiosity, creativity. How it behaves, plays, creates, expresses freely. Examples: personal life, laughing freely, dancing, creating, playing. Office life. What if we try something completely new, bringing creative ideas? Free child negative, impulsive, risky. When freedom turns into lack of boundaries and awareness of consequences. Examples: personal life, extreme risk-taking, riding a motorcycle at high speed without protection, dangerous thrill-seeking behavior. Office life, ignoring rules, I don't feel like doing it this way, acting without considering consequences. Adapted child. This is the part that adjusts to rules, expectations, and authority. Adapted child positive, healthy adaptation. How it thinks, these rules make sense. I can cooperate. How it feels, safe, structured. How it behaves, follows appropriate rules, cooperates, respects boundaries. Examples: personal life, washing hands, following safety rules. Office life, meeting deadlines, respecting team processes. Adapted child negative. Over-adaptation, submission. When adaptation becomes loss of self. How it behaves, doesn't speak up, accepts unfair treatment, avoids conflict at all costs. Examples: personal life, staying silent in unhealthy relationships. Office life, working overtime without pay, not speaking up about unfair treatment. Rebellious child, often seen as part of adapted child, but useful to view separately. This is the part that reacts against control. Important distinction. Free child, right-pointing arrow, acts from authentic desire. Rebellious child, right-pointing arrow, acts against something. Rebellious child, positive, healthy resistance. How it behaves, challenges unfair rules, protects autonomy. Examples: personal life, no, this doesn't feel right for me. Office life, speaking up against unethical decisions. Rebellious child negative, reactive opposition. Opposition for the sake of opposition, not awareness. Examples: personal life, I won't do it just because you said so. Office life, ignoring instructions out of defiance even when they make sense. Final integration insight. All ego states are necessary. The goal is not to eliminate any of them, but to recognize when each form is helpful or harmful. Practice assignment: exploring your functional ego states. Please pause the video and complete this exercise. Write your answers in a format that is convenient for you, on your phone, tablet, or computer. If you are taking this course with an instructor, save your answers and submit them as part of your homework. Part 1. Real-life observation. Think of 2 recent situations, one from your personal life, one from your work, professional life. For each situation, briefly describe what happened, what did you say or do, what did the other person say or do. Part 2. Identify ego states. For each situation, analyze. 1. Which ego state were you in? Choose one or a mix if relevant. Nurturing parent, positive, negative. Critical parent, positive, negative. Adult. Free child, positive, negative. Adapted child, positive, negative. Rebellious child, positive, negative. Explain why you think so. 2. Which ego state was the other person in? Again, identify the state, briefly explain your reasoning. Part 3. Evaluate the impact. For each situation, was your reaction helpful, positive, or unhelpful, negative? What was the impact on the relationship, the outcome? Part 4. Alternative response. Now reflect. If you could go back to that situation, which ego state would be more effective? What would you say or do differently? Write your exact alternative phrase or behavior. Part 5. Pattern recognition. After analyzing both situations, reflect. Do you notice any pattern? E.g., I often go into critical parent at work. E.g., I over-adapt in personal relationships. Which ego state do you tend to overuse, underuse? Optional advanced reflection. For deeper work, where do you think this pattern comes from? Family, culture, past experience? Want to get this presentation for free? Download the full slides presentation completely free. Go to website ai4sci.net.